Today I'll be interviewing Malcolm from Sussex, a volunteer recorder for the Wetland Bird Survey. So I've got a few questions to ask. So the first question is, what is WeBS and why is it important for the bird conservation in the UK?
WeBS is a national survey of wetland birds. It's organised by the British Trust for Ornithology, the RSPB, Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust, and the Joint Nature Conservation Committee for the United Kingdom. What it is an attempt to be able to monitor wildfowl and wetland bird numbers across the whole of the United Kingdom.
Brilliant. And where do you conduct the survey? Why is that site important to do WeBS count, and how often do you do it?
The site that I count on is one of 3,000 in the country. I'm one of about 3,000 volunteers, and it's called Pevensey Levels. It's on the south coast near to Eastbourne. It's a very large marsh and fenland site with grazing meadows. Oh, it's 3,500 hectares. It's an SSSI, which is a site of special scientific interest, and it's a special area of conservation, which means it's protected at a European scale. So it's a very important site, and I go there every month to count wildfowl on my part of the marsh. Wildfowl meaning geese, ducks, swans, waders, and it's a set date every month, a Sunday in fact, which is quite handy. And on that day, all the 3,000 counters across the UK are out doing what I'm doing. It's a really important site, and that's why it's part of the National Wetland Bird Survey.
Wow, brilliant. And then the next question is, what group of bird species do you usually include? And have you come across any particularly interesting species during your time as a volunteer?
In total, in the Wetland Bird Survey, you can see anything up to 100 different species of wetland bird, and the ones that are we'll call it WeBS because it takes such a long phrase. The ones that WeBS focus on are wildfowl, geese and ducks and swans, and waders. So that's things like lapwing and golden plover, the long-legged things that walk about in the mud, feeding on worms. The interest is not so much rarities or anything like that. It's the way it changes through the seasons. In the summer, you're counting breeding birds. So they're setting up territories, they're raising their young, they're putting on mating displays. And at the other end of the spectrum, in the winter, you get large flocks of birds coming onto the marsh to shelter from harsh weather. And it changes through the seasons. And you also get things passing through, interesting things like barnacle geese, Buick swans. Really, you never know what you're going to see down there. And the only other thing to mention is that they're also interested in the predatory birds that can have an effect on the wildfowl and the waders. So that could be things like hobby or merlin, peregrine falcon. So there's always something of interest.
Sounds good. And the last question I've got is, can anyone get involved, and is there any training available if they need it?
As we're in the 21st century, WeBS, like everybody else, has its own website. The website is run by the British Trust for Ornithology. That's where I send my records every month when I've done my survey. And it's a good website to have a look at, because the homepage immediately directs you towards how you can get involved if you want to as a volunteer. And there's loads more information on there. Digital newsletters, other surveys that they carry out. So anybody who's interested, just log on to the WeBS, Google capital W, small e, capital B, capital S, and you'll find the WeBS website. They have a button to access data on sites that haven't got recorders at the moment, vacant sites. So you can find out if there are any sites in your area that haven't got anybody recording. You may be able to get accepted as a recorder for that site. You do need to be a skilled bird watcher and know your birds, but they also do, on the website, you can also find information about training offered by WeBS for volunteers.
Sounds easy enough. Brilliant. Well, that's all I need to ask, so thank you very much. And that sounds like a survey that students would find interesting getting involved in.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye.